Hello everyone, I'm Andy Ng, and today this is our online course called How to be an Effective Manager and Leader. So let's get started. First of all, I would like to thank you for joining this online course because a wise gentleman once told me, Andy, if you spend your money away, you can earn it back. But time once spent away can never be recovered. Of course, the same goes for your health. So whether you are right now a manager, supervisor, a leader, a director, or someone that is working hard in your career, you would want to be a manager or leader one day. Maybe today you have already won. But the question is, are you an effective manager and leader? That's the purpose of our course. You see, I've been in training for more than 23 years since the year 2001. I'm trained as a certified public accountant. Now they call it chartered accountant. I also have an MBA, and I've worked for many companies. My last employer was in the year 1997 to 2001, where I was the Director of Finance and Human Resource of a Japanese manufacturing company. And since then, I have been on my own doing training and coaching, and it has been more than 23 years already. I also like to say that I'm the author of the world's first and only practical book on WeChat marketing called Practical WeChat Marketing 94 Ways. You can get this book on Amazon or from me directly. They say there's one man that changed the world, and many people say, isn't this Mr. Lee Kuan Yew, the father of modern Singapore? Of course it's not. The person that changed the world in management is Mr. Peter Drucker, and he said that most of all what we call management consists of making it difficult for people to get their work done. So in other words, Peter Drucker, the father of management, said that managers are the ones that are the problems. They make it difficult for employees to work. Isn't that interesting? This is our course content. You can see that it covers a wide spectrum of areas. At the end of the day, you will be able to address all your concerns and frustrations in your work. And most importantly, you become an effective manager and leader. Isn't this a common scenario? You work very hard and are very committed to your employer and your work. You also treat your colleagues well, and your company and the team can depend on you to get things done. Yet you cannot help but feel that you're being squeezed in between, you're highly stressed. So the question is, can you turn yourself from highly stressed to highly successful? Let's look at what are the frustrations of managers. At the end of this course, you will have the answers for all these frustrations. First is that not easy to keep within budget, right? And second is you find it hard to get loyal staff. And customers are not reasonable, that make your job very difficult. And you find that if you are too tough on people, people don't like you. And then if they don't like you, it's hard to get your message across. So liked by others is important, yet it is not easy. And how can you get things done right the first time and each and every time? Otherwise, you'll be spending a lot of time doing rectifications. That's rather time consuming, right? And you need to keep good staff and make sure the staff turnover is not too high. And there are many conflicts in the company. How can you resolve the conflicts with the right ways and motivate people to own their own work and work hard so that you can delegate? How are you able to cope with so much work if your working hours are too long? If your working hours are so long, you have no more personal life. Definitely you cannot last, right? And some staff just want to work from home and you find it very challenging to get them to come back to the office. We say that all these challenges are the result of three things only: alignment, communication, and teamwork. First of all, there is no alignment between the goals of your goal as a manager, the goals of your team member, and the goals of the organization. So these three parties, the goals are not in alignment. For example, the organization wants to cut costs and wants to retrench staff. Your goal as a manager is to get things done through the people. And the goal of your team members or your employees is just to make sure they can go back home on time and get salary and get higher salary. So it looks like all these three goals are conflicting, they are not in alignment, right? And there's also this issue of communication. We all know that managers do nothing but communication. And if you're not communicating correctly, then you are creating trouble for both yourself and your team members. And lastly, where is this thing called teamwork? If there's no teamwork, then you'll be spending a lot of time, wasting a lot of time, and in the end, you're not effective. So these are the three major problems: alignment, communication, and teamwork. And we shall address all that in our class today. Some people say, well, if our team members are so capable, wouldn't our lives be so relaxing? But understand that if your team members are so capable, then they don't need you as a manager. So stop complaining that your team members are not giving you the things that you want, and start improving and become an effective manager and leader. From the book, The E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gerber, he said that there are three roles in any business. First, there is this technician who is the doer. He does the work. And there's the manager, people like you, right? And who manages all these technicians and doers. And there's the higher level, the entrepreneurs, the owners, the bosses. And these three different roles, their goals are not the same. For example, the technician, they need to have this thing called know-how. For example, you hire an accountant. The accountant is a technician, regardless of how high or low her salary is. And definitely she must have the know-how, right? If she has no know-how, how can she be the accountant? And you as the manager must know everything. As the boss, the entrepreneur, people at the top, they are able to see the faraway picture. So for them, they like to know why. They always ask why. But you must always ask various sorts of questions, and everything must know. You cannot don't know. If you don't know, you'll be in trouble. So the technician is focused on the present, how to get things done, and you and the manager needs to review things. Most of the time, you're focused on the past. For example, by looking through reports, you're looking at the past. And then the entrepreneur, the owner, the directors, they're always looking to the future. So what they see is something that you cannot see in the middle or the lower level. It's like the tree, right? The top of the tree, you can see the mountains and the clouds. At the bottom, in the middle, you only see the tree leaves, and then the branches. At the bottom, at the roots there, they only see nothing but dirt and all the dirty things, right? And everyone, they look at things differently. And the manager is somewhat in between to reconcile all these different roles and conflicts in goals. And the manager is someone very important. He must be able to do all these things. That's right, as a manager, you must confirm, cannot assume things are done, right? Let me show you the Ming Dynasty of China that has about 200 years whereby the emperor, the person on top, is missing most of the time. In fact, there was one emperor that for 20 years he did not go to the court. So the empire still runs, it did not collapse, right? From here you can see the power of managers. So you as a manager, you have a big power. You can make things happen. And even if the top is messy or not there, the organization can still goes on because of you as the manager. Don't you think you are very powerful?